Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuktan sanjeevayata kila shakti dhara swadhamna anyam shahasta charana shravana pagadim prana namo bhagavate purushaaya tubhyam katanchana smrite yasmin duskaram sukaram bhavet vismite viparitam sya Shri Chaitanya namah. Hare Krishna. So welcome to our weekly class of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are starting one of the most beautiful chapters of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the 8th chapter of the first canto. We are going to start from today. So the next few chapters, starting from 8th, this is Kunti's prayers. Next chapter is Bhishma's prayers. Then, we have Krishna going to Dwarka and the Dwarka residents praying to Krishna. Then Pandavas leaving the world. Basically, the next few chapters will give you a sample, or it's like a trailer of the 10th canto, or it's like a capsule-sized version of the feast that will be coming in the 10th canto. Because Krishna is a person, and a relationship with Krishna is very, very beautiful. And that is going to be revealed in the next few chapters of this canto, starting from today. The rasa or the mellow or the sweetness, that will be obvious now. So you're going to all dive into a relationship with Krishna. You're going to see Krishna is a beautiful person who has feelings, who has certain rasa with his devotees. All that is going to be seen now for the first time in the Srimad Bhagavatam directly. So you have to be very attentive and you have to be present. Is that okay? So we start with the 8th chapter. The first 4 verses is like a background. The Pandavas, remember what happened in the previous chapter? How did it end? Ashwatthama was punished, and then the Mahabharata war is over. So now Pandavas, they are lamenting because so many people have died in this war. So the first 4 verses is Pandavas lamenting and Krishna pacifying. First 2 verses they will lament, and the 3rd and 4th is Krishna pacifying. So you can please repeat after me the first verse. Who will read the translations today? You can read. Anusha. Suta Uvacha Atate Samparetanam Swanam Udakam Ichchatam Datum Sakrishna Gangayam Puraskritya Yayustriya.
Translation. Sutta Goswami said, thereafter the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges with Draupadi. The ladies walked in front.
Yes, so now we are, Srimad Bhagavatam is now moving into the phase where basically the question the sages had asked was on Parikshit Maharaj. That was the question asked. So the description is about his birth and the circumstances in which he was born, that is revealed. That's how Ashwatthama's story came. But now you will see, just like in a normal class also this happens, the speaker begins with some topic and then he digresses to other things. He'll say some story, some analogy, some shairi. Like that it happens, right? So, and then he'll come back to the main topic. Similarly, you will see it is a question answers on Parikshit Maharaj's birth, but you'll see there is going to be discussion on Kunti. It is going to start now. Then Bhishma, then Pandavas leaving the world, Krishna going to Dwarka, Krishna disappearing from this world. All those things will also come out. And then again, the focus will come back to Parikshit Maharaj. So like that, there is little diversion. So, and that diversion is sweet. Why? Because it is all about Krishna. So it's okay with us, as long as there is Krishna's glorification. So in this verse, what is happening is we are seeing the funeral rites being performed. Srila Prabhupada writes of tradition here in the purport. How when close family members die, then it's emotionally challenging. Now, if you see Pandava, they faced a very emotionally very challenging situation because it was not one person who died. It is not one uncle or one brother or one grandfather. In one shot, millions of people were killed. Close relatives, distant relatives, friends, entire clan got wiped out. So it's an intense situation. So when Krishna has a desire to establish dharma, there is a heavy price to pay. This chapter is all about Kunti's prayers. And therefore it is important for us to know that Kunti has paid a big price for seeing Krishna's desire getting fulfilled. And this chapter is her glory. She has lost Karna. Now she has lost her grandchildren. Basically, in the Mahabharata war, the survivors paid a heavy price. They paid heavily in the battle because they have gone through hell and watched intimate family members die and snatched away by the cruel hands of time. They were helpless witness and they can't stop Krishna from executing his plan. Krishna is going to do what he wants to do. So Krishna is what? Krishna is very sweet, but is also heavy. Krishna is sweet and is also heavy. So a relationship with Krishna comes at a price. That's what Pandavas paid. And we will see Kunti also has paid that price. So initially, Krishna consciousness appears very, in Krishna, ISKCON connection is very casual for us initially. And Krishna consciousness appears to be very sweet, like a plate of pineapple butter halwa or sweet rice, puri pakodas. Oh, acha hai, ISKCON bahut acha hai. Wow, this is so nice. Krishna is so nice, ISKCON is so nice. So Krishna looks sweet and nice, but Krishna looks sweet and nice not just in Vrindavan. He also looks sweet and smiling in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. When there is destruction happening all around, there also Krishna is smiling only. And Krishna is smiling in Vrindavan, and in Kurukshetra there's all tabahi, destruction happening. Now, if you have a stake in the battle of Kurukshetra, like the Pandavas or Kunti, then you will wonder why Krishna is smiling. You will be like, "Arey, why be smile kar rahe? I am in so much pain. So what is this? What is all happening? Why so much death?" It is not easy to take. So this is like the introduction to Kunti's prayers chapter, that we are entering Kunti's prayer section. She is a very special devotee because of this. Because she is not disturbed when she sees Krishna smiling, even as I am suffering. This is very difficult for us, She is one of the best examples of someone who has surrendered to Krishna's will. Krishna ka jo ichha hai bas. And her true glory, the glory of a sincere devotee, is coming out here, who simply submits to Krishna's desire. And that is very tough. Like if you have an orange crush, इसमें से orange का जो squash बनाएंगे तो क्या निकलेगा? Orange ही निकलेगा. Mango juice में से निकालेंगे mango निकलेगा. करेला का juice निकालेंगे तो bitter करेला will come out. What is inside comes out, right? So our character is tested during crushing time, during difficult times, during tests. So what is inside at that time will come out. And if we want to know how much I have absorbed Krishna consciousness, if we want to know how much advanced I have become, then we have to simply see how we react, how we respond during crisis. The 16th chapter of Gita speaks about Dambo, Darpa, Abhimanascha, that harsh speech, arrogance, false pride. These are the symptoms of somebody who is very, very demoniac. And generally, when we go through pain and suffering, this is what comes out of this. Harsh speech, arrogance. It's natural to have harsh speech when we're insecure. Our behavior is driven by our anxieties. But Kunti, she is not angry despite what she has gone through. And even as Krishna is smiling, she is glorifying Krishna in beautiful choice poetry. That is why these prayers are very special. And especially, I don't know if you've seen it, if you've been in ISKCON for some years, you'll realize sometimes as devotees, when you're in difficulty, and if you have some authority, some devotees who can help, who has the power, and if he's not helping, then we get angry. some, like for example, initiation issue ho gaya, anything, some management issue. And Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and right around him, massive massacre is happening. And his devotees have also died. So we see Kunti, she's not complaining. So we see this is like, ISKCON is basically we are practicing which yoga? Bhakti yoga. So Bhakti yoga, it's like a university. The graduates, postgraduates, or Pandavas are like PhD in this Bhakti university. So they have entered this university, they have graduated with honors, distinction. Kunti has also got distinction because she's gone through so much. So the point is, before we discuss this chapter, we need to understand that can we also pass this Bhakti Yoga course with first class? Can we? That is the question. Many of us right now are casual visitors to this university. Like I remember when I went to first time to US, I was so excited in Seattle to go to Google, Microsoft office. When I went to Boston, I was so excited to go to Harvard, MIT, University of photo khicha mast. But I didn't study there. So similarly, when we come to Hare Krishna, are we just coming to take selfies and photos? Are we casual visitors, or do we want to commit to the university? Do we want to chant here? Because when we start chanting, that basically we're enrolling in the University of Bhakti, then you start hearing classes, then you will be tested. Not the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav exam, but that certificate exam is not how you will be tested. It is going to be more intense test, where Krishna will be there next to you, smiling, and you will be wondering why he's not helping me. So this doubt will come. And will you be like Kunti at that time, or will you become an agnostic, an atheist? Can you pass this exam? And if you want to pass this exam, we have to see how Kunti is offering prayers. Basically, don't have false expectations from Krishna. Krishna will keep smiling even when everybody is in distress around him. He may not fulfill your desires the way you want. So are you still willing to have a relationship with Krishna? Kunti wants to have that relationship. So that's why she is our hero. And that is why her prayers are the most poignant and heart-touching prayers in the Bhagavatam. Because Pandavas are in great shock. And it's a big tragedy. And you will see next chapter how Yudhishthira is like wailing and lamenting. So it's a big tragedy. And Krishna is smiling. See, Krishna doesn't laugh loudly. And he doesn't have a very grave and sober face also. He has got a soft smile. Halka sa smile. And that smile is very attractive for us when our lives are going nice. But when troubles come and you come to temple and you see Gopinath is still smiling. And you are like, hey, why are you smiling now? Don't you know I'm going through so much problem? That is our test. Will you keep your faith in Krishna strong, or will you leave and take to material shape? But at that moment, if we can tell Krishna, Krishna, I really love you. I will accept this punishment, or I'll accept this situation as your mercy. Krishna, this is tough, but I trust you. I really love you. Then we will get intoxicated by Krishna's love. Then that वो नशा आने लगेगा. वो राहत फतेह अली खान है ना, वो गजल सिंगर, उनका फेमस गाना है, वो प्रेमिका के लिए लिखा है उन्होंने, बट वो कृष्णा के लिए परफेक्टली एप्लीकेबल है. ये जो हल्का हल्का सुरूर है, ये तेरी नजर का कसूर है, ये शराब पीना सिखा दिया. है ना गाना है फेमस. तेरे प्यार ने, तेरे चाह ने, तेरी बहकी बहकी निगाह ने मुझे एक शराबी बना दिया. वो गाता है जरूर मुझे एक शराब. तो ये जो हल्का 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 सुरूर, सुरूर मीन्स व्हाट? इट्स लाइक, it's not a big intoxication, a mild intoxication. So ये जो हल्का हल्का सुरूर, it's irresistible. So that intoxication, that sweetness of bhakti, see, bhakti, Krishna consciousness, sweetness is not sweet like a kheer. When we say no, bhakti बहुत sweet process. It's not sweet like kheer. It's like a crackjack biscuit. थोड़ा खट्टा, थोड़ा मीठा, like hot samosa चटनी जो रहता है ना, वो चटनी irresistible भी है, पर तीखा भी है. खाना भी है, नहीं भी खा सकते. बेसिकली इट्स इररेजिस्टिबल. सो रगड़ा पैटिस के साथ जब आता है वो चटनी, तो ऐसा है. कृष्णा स्वीट है पर अलग टाइप का वो स्वीट. इसलिए वो बोल रहा है गाने में, तेरी बहकी निगाह ने. कृष्णा ऑल्सो है तिरछी नजर, यू नो. Krishna is looking here at the gopis, at gopas, at the cows, and Krishna is smiling. He's making some grand plan which only he knows. And you know, and that smile, that halka sa, that pyar sa smile, that chaha, that love. And if we don't see it as pyar, then we will give up Krishna consciousness and become sharabi. हम भी शराबी बन जाएंगे, अलग टाइप का. So we have to get the intoxication in Krishna consciousness to see that is love. So this introduction is important, where Kunti is our hero because she didn't doubt. She didn't doubt Krishna's smile when things were not favorable. We love Krishna. We love Krishna's smile only when I am smiling. But when I am crying and if I see Krishna smiling, then do I cry in anger or do I feel loved by Krishna? That is a test. So we have to realize somewhere that Krishna is my best well-wisher and he always protects me. And I don't want to complain. I don't want to complain. And I want to be like Kunti. That is why she is our ideal. And I invite you. And if you want to get PhD in Bhakti, we all have to learn to see Krishna smile in all situations and love him in all situations. I know this sounds too lofty. So what I mean by this in simple words is basically as we are doing our Bhakti, we have to come to a stage in our practice where we feel safe in our relationship with Krishna. Which means you feel a silent reassurance that I know Krishna is with me. I know I'm a servant of Krishna. Although I'm sad, I'm miserable right now, but somehow when it comes to Krishna consciousness, I'm stable and I'm reassured. ये जो waves आएंगे अलग अलग, happiness, distress, problem, these are waves. But I am diving deep ocean, into the deep ocean of Bhakti. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. I am with Krishna. And in all conditions, in all situations of my life, I belong to Krishna. This is what basically it means to be situated in a relationship with Krishna. To feel assured, to feel loved. So like this, the Pandavas are now in the mood of lamentation and Krishna is there. And what does Krishna do? We will see now. Text number 2. Te niniyodakam sarve vilapya cha vrisham puna आपलूता हरिपादाब्ज रजः पूता सरिज्जले.
Translation. Having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganges water, they bathed in the Ganges, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord.
Haripadabja means Krishna's lotus feet. Rajah Puta Sarijjale. There is purification when Krishna's dust from his lotus feet is taken. And what are the Pandavas doing? Vilapya. Vilapya means vilap karna matlab lamentation. So I have a question to all of you. Is lamentation okay? What is the spiritual understanding of lamentation on death, on suffering, when you see somebody you love is suffering, death? So is lamentation okay? Huh?
Yes.
Yes? All of you agree? Huh? Lamentation is not okay according to scriptures. Correct. Correct. But there is also lamentation, no? We love him and he's lost, we are lost. So basically, lamentation is okay. Lamentation is natural, and it cannot be suppressed. It should not be suppressed. But we have to cushion that lamentation with proper scriptural understanding. Which means we have to study scriptures, and after lamenting, one has to go back to performing his duty. So if after lamenting, one withdraws from one's duties, then that is called tamoguna lamentation, ignorance. But after, like post lamentation, if a person is like he regains his duties, he knows that okay, these situations are unavoidable, then that is action in knowledge. That is action in knowledge. So lamentation by itself is not ignorance. And one is not disallowed from lamentation. Otherwise, Pandavas would not be lamenting. Pandavas are lamenting, Kunti is also crying, but they continue their services. In Vedic culture, there is a proper protocol on how to deal with birth, death, and life in between birth and death. There is what is called as samskaras, purificatory ceremonies, where those surviving are reminded, like when there is a death in the family, those surviving are reminded of the temporary nature of life, and they perform various ceremonies to remember how this life is an opportunity for us to progress in spiritual life, and the ceremonies are an opportunity for us to pray for those who have died. See, the tendency is we're all very selfish. I have lost this person I love. I am so unfortunate. I am so unhappy. But when we perform samskaras and ceremonies, they are designed so that you can come out of your own consciousness, I consciousness, and you can, those who have left us, you can think of their welfare, and you can offer prayers and rituals for them. So that, like, this is very important. So Pandavas are lamenting in verses 1 and 2. And now 3 and 4 is pacification. Now they're going to be pacified. Verse number 3. Tatrasinam kurupatim Dhritarashtram sahanujam Gandharin putra shokartam Pratam Krishnam cha Madhava.
Translation. There sat the king of the Kurus, Maharaj Yudhishthira, along with his younger brothers and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna was also there.
It's interesting, huh? So everybody is lamenting, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Yudhishthira, and Pratam, Krishnam cha Madhava. Madhava is also there. Krishna is also. What do you think Krishna is doing there when everybody around, all devotees are lamenting? He is pacifying them. And devotees are not angry. Krishna is consoling. And others are not angry that Krishna, you could have saved, no? Like just imagine, just give an example, mundane example. Mukesh Ambani, let us say he has a cousin who starts his big business and goes to major losses. So the business is, is losing, and is eventually becoming, the business is closing down. And there is like Shok Sabha, everybody is coming and consoling him and showing empathy. And Mukesh Ambani also comes and gives empathy. Sorry, yaar, tumhara itna loss ho gaya. So his close friend, cousin, he will get angry. Are you could have saved me, no? Still you didn't. Similarly, we see here, Krishna has come for consoling, and all these people know that Krishna is Supreme Personality of God. And if he wanted, he could have avoided all this pain that we are going through now. See, if someone does something below his potential, we get angry. Krishna could have saved so many disasters. Yet he is smiling. So first 20 minutes I've only discussed about Krishna's smile. But Krishna could have done more than that smile. Like you go to a big donor. Once we went to a very big donor who is worth, he's not a donor, he's a rich man. We thought he'll give a good donation. He's worth 50,000 crores plus net worth. With great expectation, brochure, full presentation we made. And in the end, he kept smiling during the whole presentation and he gave donation of 101 rupees. How will you feel? If you go to a rickshawala and he gives you 101 rupees, you'll be very happy. But a billionaire, you get frustrated, right? So Krishna is Supreme Person of Godhead. Lakshmi Shahasha Shatasambrama Sevyamanam. Thousands and thousands of Lakshmis are serving. He can manipulate and do what he wants as per his desire, and all he's offering is sympathetic words to relatives. And all of them are peaceful because they have no expectations. We become angry But because our plans and our agendas from others, they're not getting fulfilled. We get frustrated. But Pandavas, this is a classic example of how Pandavas and Kunti, they aligned themselves to Krishna's will. So therefore, they love Krishna in all situations, even when he chose not to do what they would have loved him. Text 4. Santayam asa munibe Ata bandhum shucharpita Bhuteshu kalasya gatim Darshayanna pratikriyam.
Translation. Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected.
Here it is said, Sanpayam asa munibir. Krishna and Munis, Krishna and saintly people were consoling together. This verse is teaching us how to console when death has taken place. First of all, Krishna was with some saintly people. That means even Krishna did not try to pacify alone. Don't think you can pacify somebody who is grieving. You can pacify them alone. You have to take some people with you. Otherwise, you will get overwhelmed and you will also lament and get dragged by that energy. And you will forget the goal of life. Krishna and saintly people. Because many people were affected. No? See, one person is lamenting, you can console. But if so many people are lamenting, that even Krishna doesn't pacify alone. He takes Munis with him. And what was Krishna's consoling method? What did he say to the Pandavas? If you see in this verse, it is said, Darshayan na pratikriyam. Pratikriyam. Na pratikriyam means Krishna's one point of pacification was na pratikriyam. There is no remedy, just tolerate death. Except later on, Bhishma will also tell the same thing to Yudhishthira. Na pratikriyam na yasya. There is no remedy to all these tragedies that happen in our life. Don't think I will wear some kala tabis. You know, the Baba Bengalis are there. I don't know, nowadays they have those posters. When I was in college, I remember in Mumbai local trains, there would be so many posters put of all these Raja Bengali, Buddha Bengali, Baba Bengali. And they would promise you that a tabis pen or some problem chala jayega. No, na pratikriyam, no remedy, just tolerate and accept. And also kalasya bhuteshu gatim. Kalasya means another thing Krishna used in pacifying people who were lamenting was kalasya. Laws, stringent laws of time are very powerful. Time बहुत powerful है. अच्छे लोग वक्त जब आंखें फेर लेता है तो शेर को भी कुत्ता घेर लेता है. When a lion gets defeated by dogs, pack of dogs. And bhuteshu gatim means everybody has to die. Everybody gets reactions. And na pratikriyam, no remedy. So three things Krishna uses in pacifying. First, this is the way we can also pacify people when there is tragedies. We can pacify ourselves. First is kalasya, time is very powerful. Second, bhuteshu gatim, everybody in this world has to suffer. And na pratikriyam, no remedy. When people die, we generally say, no, he was a good man, he was very dear to Krishna, he will get good birth, he will go back to Godhead. He had a good company of all of you. All that we say. And then we should also, as devotees of Krishna, we should also cite the temporary nature of time. In Vedic culture, I don't know how it happens nowadays. But earlier, the dead body would be taken in a procession. And they would chant Ram Nam. And there was also kettle drum many times. Because people see, they come out of the house, they see a dead body is being taken. And they say, oh, I saw him yesterday. He's no more now. Oh, he died. What happened? They all get a chance and they get a chance to remember. And because the body is being carried in a procession, people realize by seeing that how nothing is permanent in this world. And I will also have to go soon. And many of them they go through that Prince Siddhartha moment. They get this realization that like Gautam Buddha got, life is temporary. So let me do my homework now. Let me clean my heart and get out of material world. This is why the dead bodies are taken. It is to basically make us sober. As soon as we get up in the morning, we need to thank Krishna. Krishna, thank you for giving me one more day. by which I can clean my heart, I can work hard and do devotional service and come back to you. And night when we are going to sleep, we can thank Krishna, give him a report and recommit. Krishna, thank you. Then we will take this life as a serious assignment and we won't violate it. That is why the samskaras are there in Vedic culture. Now, if a friend of yours borrows your car and you brought a new car and he borrows it, and then he damages that car completely, breaks all the windows, doors, rips off all the seat cushions, and after 2 days he comes and returns it back to you. How will you react? If you're a gentleman, I mean, ideally you would do the same thing to him what he did to your car. But if you're a gentleman, you'll at least ensure that you won't give him the car again. Imagine he comes next time and says, after a few months, he comes and says, "Arey, car milega kya aapka wo?" What, will you give him the car again? No, right? So we have got this human form of life which is like a car. Very special, we can, but this human body is like a car. Krishna has given it to us and we are wasting it away. And then don't expect Krishna to give it again soon enough. So now is the time to make the best use of it, So modern times, unfortunately, what happens? Death is covered. Death is hidden. In fact, earlier, the ashes also they would take and they would do the samskaras in holy rivers. Now we don't see all of this, especially in Western countries. After death, they decorate the body so nicely with coat and tie, and they say, "Wow, we look so nice in the last moment." It's all about feel good. But Krishna, when he is pacifying his relatives, he is showing how time is relentless. And this is the Bhagavatam way of pacifying. How everybody is going to be dealt with the same way. Sab pit rahe, to become pacified. See, many times, the grief is because we are thinking God is unjust to me. But when you realize others are also going through the same thing, then you feel a little pacified. I don't know, you have experienced that. I remember, this near Metro Theatre, there is this, I don't know if it's still there. There used to be Fashion Street. Abhi bhi hai kya? So when we were in college, we used to go to Xavier's College. From there, we used to walk till from Kalagod, pura wo church gate tak walk karke, ghum ke time pass karke. So Fashion Street was the place where we would buy T-shirts just for time pass. So I remember once I came home with some T-shirts and my neighbors are also there. I removed and I said, "Dad, I brought this for 100 rupees. And he looked at it and he said, "Arey, wo zyada hai iske liye. 100 rupees diya isko. Chhi, to itna acha nahi." And I was a little discouraged. And then my neighbor was there. Neighbor said, "Arey, same T-shirt I brought last week, same. I paid 300 rupees. Because this Fashion Street is very notorious. The idea is when you go there and you ask for a T-shirt and they'll say 500. And we immediately say 50. Maja aata tha usme. And then they would say, "Nahi jao." And then we would, 200-300 mein lete. So I thought I had a big deal, but my father dismissed it. And then when my neighbor said, "I paid 300 rupees, I saw my father gave a big smile." He became proud of his son's negotiations. He became proud of him. So when we get a better deal, or when we see that, okay, I got a good deal, then we get pacified. But if you think, "Oh, I am miserable, mere saath nainsafi hua, I have been cheated," then you become miserable. But you see, everybody is going through this. So theek hai, thoda, this is the nature of time. Kalasya, Krishna is saying. Time is relentless, time is moving. Like when I was in Rishikesh, I saw Ganga moving. Every day I would go and sit on the bank of Ganga. God, how she moves. How she is taking everything with her. She's going fast. They won't stop for anything and anybody. So I was looking at the current of Ganga, taking all the plastic bottles, chappals, branches, twigs, everything is going. That's how time is. Gange Bhogam. So time takes everything away. So this can't be undone by us. Srila Prabhupada also was very, very cool about it. When one devotee said, "Srila Prabhupada, in India, death rate is very high." Prabhupada looked surprised. He said, "Really?" Prabhupada, death rate is same everywhere. It is 100%. Everybody who is born has to die. So we are all under the clutches of time, and we have to know that. But of course, when you are explaining to someone who's seen death and tragedy, we have to explain this sensitively. We are human beings, we can't artificially try to be transcendent. So Srila Prabhupada also writes in the purport that if we follow the Lord's laws and Lord's instructions, we will be actually materially and spiritually happy in this world. It's not that we are encouraging people to be miserable. So I want to briefly discuss how we will be happy if we practice Krishna consciousness, especially given the fact that we will die sooner or later. So how do we become happy in bhakti? After coming to ISKCON, how can you be happy in your material and spiritual life? So the logic you have to understand how it works. It is not some automatic process. There is something you have to do. See, everybody wants mukti. They may call it by different names. Mukti means relief from suffering. Simple words. Mukti means as a peace. Sabko chahiye peace. But Bhagavatam says, Mukti Ritvanata Rupam Swarupena Vyavasthita. We feel relief and peace when we are established in our constitutional position, which is service. Right now, what is happening is, because of illusion, we are attached to temporary material positions. And because of this attachment, we forget our Swarupa, our position that I am a servant. And then what happens, if you practice devotional service in this mood that I am a servant of the Lord, then these misgivings or anarthas or unwanted things from the heart, they get cleared because we are hearing the holy name, we are having association. The transformation happens. And we reconnect with Krishna. But then when death happens, when suffering happens, we will still continue with the journey of being connected with Krishna. So therefore, this association which we are having now, we have to take this very seriously, because it is in this association that we understand our constitutional position. See, just coming together for a weekly class is not association. Association actually means basically sharing. In association, you are sharing. Sharing means basically sharing Krishna. And sharing generally means sacrifice. You are getting out of your comfort zone and giving something. So there is something which I could have used for myself, but I'm using it for others. That is sharing. So when we come in association, when we have this mood that I want to give Krishna, then Krishna consciousness works, because then we actually experience peace. Bhakti, the word bhakti also comes from the word, the dhatu is bhaja. Bhaja se bhakti aata hai, and bhakti, Garuda Puran says that, in Bhakti Vidyabhushan quotes, the word bhaja means seva. So bhakti basically means, Srila Prabhupada's translation of the word bhakti is not devotion. It is devotional service. Seva is very, very important. Therefore, bhakti word indicates service. Also, the word bhaja, if you divide it, it's like the word bhaja technically means divide. Like we say, vibhajan, wahan se bhaja aata hai. So to divide again means to share only. Like when you share something with someone else, which otherwise you could have used for your own purpose, for your own consumption, now you're relinquishing it for others. So bhakti basically means we share our time, energy, resources for sharing Krishna. And for what purpose you are doing this? To have a relationship with Krishna, which Pandavas had, which Kunti had. And why do we want a relationship with Krishna? This is the main part of the discussion. Why do we want a relationship with Krishna? To please him. I'll repeat. We want a relationship with Krishna to please him. Now, this is very, very amazing, because in Shuddha Bhakti, the Krishna consciousness process, very different from all other paths, because in other paths, Bhakti is abhideya, or Bhakti is like a means. And Mukti, peace, or satisfaction of the self, or relief, that is the prayojan, that is the goal. The goal is peace, and Bhakti is means. But in Hare Krishna movement, Bhakti is what? Bhakti is the prayojan. Bhakti is the end. Means, what it means is we don't want anything, something else from Krishna. See, simple words. In many paths, people serve God so that they can get peace. Okay, in many paths, people serve God because they want peace. We may want peace so that we can serve God. That is our path. Our path is very different. Our goal is to serve God. Our goal is not that we serve God and get something else. See, this idea we have, this is the mood of Kunti. See, we are going to discuss Kunti's prayer, so we need to know what is Kunti's mood. Mood is this, that we want to serve God so that God is happy. Very different. I think 3 chapters before we discussed Narad Muni scolding Vyasdev. What did he scold him for? He said, present Krishna. Yeah, Krishna is not a means for mukti. Krishna is the goal. That is what he was saying. So if we make this paradigm shift, then Krishna consciousness will make sense. Otherwise, there will always be a vacuum. Is that clear? So this is the whole idea. Kunti's mood is, I want to serve Krishna for Krishna's pleasure. So this is the first 4 verses we have taken. Now we will take 5 to 17 is the main verses where Krishna is going to say Maharaj Parikshit in the womb. We'll discuss that. But I just want to pause here. We have taken the first 4 verses. Today we discussed the introduction of Kunti's prayers, and we discussed about how Krishna's smile, and connecting to Krishna's smile, even when there is all destruction happening around us, and appreciating and recognizing Krishna, even in our distress, is what will help us take our bhakti to the next level. So I want to pause here, although we have 10 minutes more left. I want to pause here and take any questions or comments if you have regarding what we have discussed today, the first 4 verses. Because we spoke about a very sensitive topic about Krishna smiling when everybody is crying. And we discussed how we appreciate Krishna smiling only when we are smiling. But when we are crying, can we also appreciate Krishna's smiling? That is what we discussed the first 20 minutes. So I want to stop here and see if we can have some discussion on this. Yes, sir. We don't have to go through suffering. In fact, we will not go through the suffering which Pandavas went. Krishna uses his best devotees to teach us the highest standard. Srila Prabhupada gives a beautiful example in a later chapter about in the Vedic culture, a mother-in-law, how does she teach her daughter-in-law? So just come to the house. So she is very new and she is nervous. So Srila Prabhupada says in the traditional families, when the mother-in-law sees that the daughter-in-law has done some mistake and she's very new, and if I scold her, she'll break down. So what she does, she scolds her own daughter loudly, and when the daughter-in-law is within the earshot, the daughter-in-law hears, oh, acha, ye galat hai, aisa nahi karna. So next time she is more careful. So Srila Prabhupada said, similarly, Krishna knows that if he makes us go through the suffering which Pandavas went through, we will break down and we will give up bhakti. So Krishna uses his special devotees like the Pandavas to go through what they went through, to teach us that aise bhi log hain. But be rest assured, we won't go through that, and we should try our best not to go through such. We don't want to go through suffering. That doesn't mean there is no grace in suffering, because suffering is inevitable. So what we do in Hare Krishna movement is we voluntarily embrace pain by performing austerity. तपस्या बोलते हैं, तपस्या क्यों करते हैं? It is an intentional acceptance of pain. It could be any, it could be like fasting on Ekadashi, following the regulative principles of no intoxication, no illicit sex, all those things, no smoking. So the tapasya we do is an intentional embracing of pain, and that helps us avoid a lot of pain later. But not accepting pain in tamoguna, but sattva. So suffering is something which will come in our lives, different ways. But we don't have to go through, we don't have to wish, or we don't have to go through that. All of us don't have to go through. But when we have this example, then when we eventually go through something, we'll be able to say, ye suna tha, ye dekha tha. But there are people who suffer, they have everything, still they suffer. Like Amol Lila Prabhu was telling recently that one lady in Delhi, she came to him and she said, I'm suffering so much. So he said, Mataji, abhi age ho gaya, to aapko body health kharab hoga aapka. नहीं, health तो बहुत अच्छा है. तो he said, आपकी बहू सुनती नहीं होगी, आप कह रहे बहू बहुत अच्छी है. Then he said, आपके पति आपको तकलीफ देते होंगे. नहीं, पति बहुत अच्छे हैं. आपके मतलब थोड़ा फाइनेंशियल चैलेंजेस होगा कोविड के बाद. नहीं, पैसा बहुत सेविंग्स है, 4 घर है हमारे पास, कोई प्रॉब्लम. Anything he was saying, he was saying, then why are you suffering? He is saying, अभी कहाँ सेटल डाउन होना है मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. मैं सोचती हूँ स्विट्जरलैंड में सेटल हो जाए कि अमेरिका में सेटल हो जाए. वो उसका सफरिंग. अभी कौन कैसे सफर कर रहा है? आध्यात्मिक आदि भौतिक आदि दैविक क्लेश कैसे आता है? Poor man is suffering because he doesn't have food to eat. He's shivering. He's shivering on the road street side. And on the same street, you will see a very big, rich, wealthy man jogging so that he can burn the fat which has developed because he's overeaten. So this dichotomy is in human society. Who is suffering? I have seen in this Bandra Mine Creek. It's so stinking, when I would go to the university campus, church gate, I used to go to sleep. And I didn't have, nobody had to wake me up because after Mayam, I would wake up immediately when I reached that. So stinking, but I see children swimming there happily. They're laughing. वो children के पास कुछ नहीं है, slum में रहते हैं. तो क्या है material world? केशवत्वा जगत विचित्रा. Suffering, how it comes to whom? People have everything and still they are suffering. So therefore, it will come, but we have to equip ourselves with Bhagavatam so that we are sober when things don't go the way we anticipate. That is why hearing is very important. Constant classes and contemplation. Not simply hearing. I generally don't tell people, I don't ask people, Acha, you went for Bhagavatam class, you came to Bhagavatam class yesterday. People say, I came for Bhagavatam class. I heard this Prabhuji's class, it was so nice. I never ask people, what did you hear? I ask them, what did you learn? क्या सीखा आपने क्लास से? फिर वो सोचना पड़ता है ना. तो ये थोड़ा that contemplation is digestion. So suffering will come, but if you have a culture of hearing, and more than hearing, mananam, shravanam is hearing, mananam is reflection or digestion, digesting what you, like when you eat something, you need to also digest it. Similarly, when we hear and study scripture, we need to also sit back. Maybe you can go home and discuss with your wife, kya suna class mein? How do we understand? How do we apply it in our lives? Like that. So this kind of thing will help us when eventually, this is like a cushion to handle the setbacks that will eventually come our way. Srila Prabhupada went through suffering. When he cried, when his son went crazy, he had 8 children, 3 of them died during childbirth, and out of those 5, only 1 was appreciating what Srila Prabhupada was doing. Basically, all of them rejected their father. Very painful story. And the second child, Mathura Mohan, he fell in love with a girl, and then some lot of challenges happened, and he went mad. And he was roaming around in the streets of Kolkata like a scavenger, like picking up things from the garbage. And somebody saw him, and then Prabhupada put him in the best hospital in Kolkata, which only Britishers would be taken care of that hospital, and the psychology ward. one of the top psychiatrist was taking care, British doctor. And the medication seemed to work for some time, but again the boy, he went back to his old ways and he was again missing. So when Prabhupada came to know, and some years later he came to know that his son was seen in some garbage corner closer. So Prabhupada just broke down, cried. That's how life is so tough. So Pandavas went through that. We will go through that. So no one is spared. And but we have to have faith, scriptures, because it's all passing phase, right? Mirza Ghalib said, no, गुजर जाएगा ये दौर भी गालिब, जरा इत्मीनान तो रख. जब खुशी ही ना ठहरी तो गम की क्या औकात है. खुशी भी नहीं ठहरता तो गम भी कहाँ ठहरे. So this suffering is going to come, regardless of who you are, the wealthy, the poor, everyone suffers. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Anybody? Yes, one.
Yeah, you help on 2 points. One is when we say that lamentation, we need to cushion it with scriptures and regain beauty. So how, as going over your consciousness, or how we need to follow it? And second is, I think maybe you answered with the Mirza Ghalib diary, but still a little help on that. That as devotees, we need to know that time is also temporary. So time, as in the situational time, or time as car?
Situational time is
Situation.
temporary. Time is one of Krishna's 5 elements that in material world, it's always operational. Our situations are temporary, right? So what are the first point?
Lamentation and just redoing the duty, regaining the duty.
So you are saying, how do we do it?
How to
Come back.
Come back.
Yeah, that's why we need association. No? Akela nahi hota hai. You get so discouraged when you go through a setback. Somebody else has to pull you out. You need to have good association. Oh, it's very tough. See, the suffering is important because it helps us see things in proper perspective, but we need association because that association helps us. It's like the anesthesia. You know, when surgery is happening, it's painful, but anesthesia makes the pain less. So if you have good community spirit, like recently, I gave a class 2 days back on forgiveness, the temple hall. So after the class, the response I got was overwhelming, and 2 devotees came to me, 2 men. And I thought they were very peaceful, pacified, very satisfied in bhakti. Very nicely they are doing bhakti. And both the men told me their stories, and I was totally shaken. How their wives have filed wrong cases against them of abuse and dowry harassment, and they've taken the child, and he's separated from his child. And that pain was so real. And he's telling me, probably, I'm telling you, I've never harassed my wife. I'm Gopinath ke samne. He's like, he's trying to convince me. He said, nobody believes me because all the laws are against men. He's like kind of so cynical and so, he's in so much pain. And when the class, I was looking at the women's side, I could see few women tears in their eyes. So I could see there is so much suffering. So when this man was telling me, and then he had a friend who also had a similar situation. And then I connected them with one counselor. And then I realized how we have a community spirit here. The community takes care. So because there was a forum for him to hear a class like that, there was a forum for him to share with me. And then he got connection with another devotee. And that, I was trying to help him. I said, I know one criminal lawyer who is also the principal of a law college, and she can help you. I will connect you to her. And he looked at me and said, probably no need. I am myself gold medalist from law college. He needed some other kind of help. So people are going through a lot of suffering, and I feel our halat or our situations, they teach us a lot of lessons. Like one poet said, फर्क बहुत है तेरी और मेरी तालीम में, learning में तालीम is learning. फर्क बहुत है तेरी और मेरी तालीम में. तूने उस्तादों से सीखा है, मैंने हालातों से सीखा है. So some people learn. We learn in the classes like this, but actually it is our situations and circumstances that, because what that teaches us, nobody can teach us. किताबों की अहमियत अपनी जगह है जनाब. किताबों की अहमियत अपनी जगह है जनाब, पर सबक तो वही याद रहता है जो लोग और वक्त सिखाते हैं. तो वो लोग और वक्त जो सिखाते हैं, तो डाइजेस्ट करने के लिए वी नीड गुड एसोसिएशन. नहीं तो वी बिकम सिनिकल, So it's very important. And therefore, I have learned that in Hare Krishna movement, we can develop our emotional quotient very, very well. If you can try one small technique I can share with you, which I mean, many devotees do, but recently Anand Gopal Prabhu shared with me, and I said, I'm going to share with everyone what you are doing. He comes every day morning. So now, of course, temple hall is closed, but he has one habit he does. He has what he calls Krishna time. Every day, 5 minutes, he sits in front of Radha Gopinath, and he prays for at least one other devotee who is going through some difficulty. Sincerely, he prays for the devotee, and then he texts that devotee. That whole energy, that whole exchange, you can see your emotional quotient develop. You can see how nourished you feel emotionally. So there are many small things like this in Krishna consciousness we can practice in our day-to-day life. There are at least 5 to 10 habits like this, if you can cultivate. Small things. You don't have to do big things. And you will see emotionally also develop, and when tragedies come, you'll be able to sail through it. Many things like this. Like if you have one small practice of constantly, I know many devotees have this. They come to the Lord, they make a commitment, they make a promise to the Lord, and then they come back and report after. Let's say devotees make a commitment, Krishna, but tomorrow morning, the next 24 hours, I promise you, I'm going to not criticize anyone. I'm going to appreciate 5 devotees, something like that. Some commitment to Krishna. And then throughout the day, for some time they forget their promise, or they criticize some devotees and they come back, or whatever. Finally, next day morning, 8 o'clock, they're back in front of Krishna and they give a report. So this practice, what that practice does is, because of this practice of coming and reporting back to Krishna, during the day, suddenly they remember their promise to Krishna because of that practice. And it's like Krishna standing next to you and telling you, hey, you promised me. So that's, you're spontaneously remembering Krishna. Just like if you love someone and that person is a little weak or nervous and is gone to work, and if you really love that person, you'll call that person, no? Phone karenge usko aap din mein 2-3 baar. How are you? Are you okay? So basically, in this world, relationship blossom when we are in touch with the person we love or care for. And phone is a way we call that person and we connect with that person. Similarly, in Krishna consciousness, during the 24-hour period, at least 3 or 4 times you can call Krishna. Krishna, how am I? How are you? Krishna, how am I? How am I suffering? Please do something. So we can call Krishna, we can connect with Krishna and recommit our promise. There is nothing that you need to hide from Krishna. All your suffering, anxiety, insecurity, everything you can, anyway Krishna knows it. But when you express it clearly, then there is a good chance that during the day you will remember Krishna. So remembering Krishna, offering prayers to Krishna is like calling your lover when you're in distress. Because one friend of mine is staying in a different city. He was giving an exam. He has 3 children, senior position in a multinational company. So he told me that he went to Kolkata to give an exam, and he was in so much anxiety there. So in the middle of the night at 1 o'clock, he just panicked, he had a nerve, because that exam he had to clear, because then there's a lot of things, then he would get a promotion and then things like that. He had some EMIs to pay, a lot of challenges in his financial, its home situation. So he was studying for that exam, and then he panicked because tomorrow is the exam and he's not getting sleep at night. So at 1 in the night, he called his wife because he really was in nervous. And then she kind of, consoled him. And she's in Mumbai and he's in Kolkata. So for 1 hour, they spoke. So he was telling me all this when he came to meet me. After 1 hour, I felt, thoda mere ko man ko shanti mila. But just when we were hanging up, she told me, We could have spoken this in the daytime also, no? मतलब मेरा नींद ही उड़ गया because she has to take care of 3 children next day morning. And you're not complaining. You're saying, Prabhuji, my wife is fully right in what she said. I was being unreasonable. I was being harsh on her because she has to do so many things. मैं अपने selfishness के लिए phone किया. And she was kind to me, but she did tell me in the end that तुम थोड़ा रुक सकते थे ना, दिन में कर सकते थे phone. So then he was telling me, Prabhuji, थोड़ा पेन हुआ मुझे वो सुन के. तो आई सेड बट कृष्णा वोंट गिव यू दैट पेन. आप किसी भी टाइम को उठो, कृष्णा को फोन करो, कृष्णा कभी बोलेंगे नहीं कि क्यों फोन किया. आई एम नॉट सेइंग, सी ये वर्ल्ड में प्यार का लिमिटेशन है, बट कृष्ण के पास ऐसा कोई लिमिटेशन नहीं है, कोई बंधन नहीं है. एनी टाइम यू पिक अप योर बीट बैक इन द नाइट. लाइक वन नाइट आई वाज नॉट गेटिंग स्लीप व्हेन आई केम, यू नो, व्हेन यू ट्रैवल अब्रॉड एंड कम बैक, वो जेट लैग की वजह से नींद नहीं आता है. भूत आत्मा जैसे घूमते रहते हैं रात को. So that time, and you don't get sleep, you can't do anything, you just pick up the bead bag, chant. Krishna is not going to say, कोई टाइम है क्या जपा करने का? Krishna is available 24/7. So suffering is a great opportunity for us to connect with Krishna, and if you have a good association, that acts as an anesthesia. So that's how so this is the introduction to Kunti's prayers today we did. Next week we will get into Parikshit Maharaj being saved again by Krishna, and then we'll enter the prayers of Kunti. Is that okay? Thank you very much. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam.
Thank you.
Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. Hare.
Thank you.
हाँ, share बोलो. Prabhuji, Madan.
जलता चिराग बुझ गया.
जलता चिराग बुझ गया.
धुआं बाकी है.
धुआं बाकी है. जलता चिराग बुझ गया.
धुआं बाकी है.
धुआं बाकी है. बहती जख्म बुझ गई, दर्द अभी भी बाकी है. वाह. Somebody told me a nice one. क्या? इश्क चक लिया था इत्तेफाक से, इश्क चक लिया था इत्तेफाक से, जबान पर अभी भी दर्द के छाले हैं. चलो, जय हो.
Thank you. Hari Bol.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful class.
Thank you, Purnamata.